Liverpool were away in Turkey playing against Galatasaray. 1-0 was the final score for Galatasaray, Jamie.
Take it away.
Yeah, listen, it was a really good game. I think I've said that every time it's come to me. And there was a lot of good games tonight, lots of goals. But this was an end-to-end game that was a bad game in the end for Liverpool. Bad results, really poor in the second half as well. First half started well. A lot of that was to do with the mistakes of Galatasaray. I don't think Galatasaray are a great team. It's still a team Liverpool should beat and should go through. So I'm still 98%. It was 99 a couple of weeks ago. So I still think Liverpool will go through. But this is a worry for the manager and the team. What we saw tonight is what we saw early on the group stages, away in Galatasaray early on the season, that this team is just a million miles off where it was supposed to be this season, which was that we'd be talking about them in the same light, the way we speak about Bayern Munich right now. That was the whole point of Liverpool spending over £400 million in the summer, was to go the next step from winning the Premier League to go and win the Champions League. And we're talking about a team who have now got to change a deficit against Galatasaray, which I think they will. But I don't have any hope for Liverpool going any further than that if it's Paris Saint-Germain in the next round, as I think it may be. And that for me is a big worry. And it's not just a defeat. I think the performances from Liverpool this season are a big worry for the manager. I think I said on this show in the group stage, he's got to do something, he's got to change something. He's tried everything, really, in lots of different ways, but nothing seems to be able to work. And it's just, at no stage this season have I ever felt Liverpool were in control of a football match. It's either end-to-end basketball, so we wanted to stop that and change that, and then it just becomes slow and boring and predictable. And do I think another manager could come in straight away, or not straight away, or any manager, say you give him that team or that squad, I don't think it dramatically changes. I don't. I really do think sort of the makeup of the squad, how it's been put together, the lack of options in certain areas is a big problem as well. So it's not just all about the manager, but as we know, managers carry the can.
Do you think there's more noise because Alonso's a free agent now?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably that. I think that's fair because of his history at Liverpool, and also he did such a remarkable job at Bayer Leverkusen. It wasn't just he's had a good managerial career so far. We know Madrid didn't go well, and I think Thierry hit the nail on the head for probably the reasons why, and it'd be better for that experience. But I do think the job he did at Bayer Leverkusen was not just a good job. It was one of those jobs that you look at and you think, that's not supposed to happen for Bayer Leverkusen, what he did there. So I think him being on the market obviously probably does intensify the pressure. Maybe not from the club, but maybe supporters, because they've got a love affair with Xabi Alonso because of 2005.
Why don't you take us through the goal for Galatasaray?
Yes. They come from a set piece, and Osimhen wins the first contact, doesn't he? And then Lamina's there just to head it home. McAllister, he just mishits it, doesn't he? Trying to evade the bodies in the box. Doesn't get a clean connection.
And then the chance of a Ekitike, and then you need to kind of bang your run to be able to see the two angles, but it didn't, and the goalkeeper makes a great save.
Well, look at that. Some nice scenes here. We had them in Bergamo. Now in Galatasaray.
Well, the Liverpool manager, Arne Slot, has spoken in the press conference after the game, so let's hear what he had to say.
Even more frustrated about the fact that every free kick and every corner kick we took, if we only look at Galatasaray players, the referee already gave a free kick for Galatasaray. And if you then look at how much they pulled on Virgil's shirt before the ball hit Ibu's arm, then it's safe to say that we were not the only one impressed by the atmosphere here today.
Ooh. Are those complaints fair?
The pulling, you can see it, yeah. It does pull. I think it's Sanchez that does, if we show it again, it does pull the shirt of Van Dijk before, because if you concentrate on what's happening at the back, yes, there was an handball that wasn't. You will see. You can see the you can see the shirt going up. I think it's single, by the way, not Sanchez. But you can clearly see that it's pulling the shirt of Van Dijk. It's fair, obviously, but it didn't happen. So, yeah.
But what happened tonight is I watched Liverpool on the set pieces, and they did what they do in the Premier League, where everybody now just goes into the 6-yard box. There's almost sort of 15 or 16 players inside the 6-yard box. But even when I was playing 20 years ago, you knew referees in Europe looked at set pieces completely different the way we did in the Premier League. So when the referee's looking at situations, he's going to give a foul. He's going to give things like that. I remember when Peter Crouch used to play for us, 6'7" sort of striker, and you go a little bit direct in the Premier League, and he'd be getting up and maybe using his arms a bit. He used to get fouled, free kicks against him constantly in European football because they just weren't used to seeing, and they're probably not used to seeing what we see in the Premier League and almost take for granted now week in, week out. But something could have happened on the Van Dijk one, but I think the manager privately, saying that publicly, but privately be really disappointed with how Liverpool performed there.
Still got to pick up those highlights between Newcastle and Barcelona. We jumped out when Newcastle had just gone 1-0 up, but then there was a penalty incident in injury time. Who wants to take us through it?
TT, take it. Olmo, the movement.
Yeah, because you see, first and foremost, where he wasn't between. Look, that's what he does there. The way he shifts. He goes left, he goes back right. Anyone was going to buy that. Then obviously, the big guy missed one the other day, but he's not going to miss this one. And then, yes, they suffered, but they're back to Barcelona with a draw.
1-1. Newcastle, do you give them any chance going over to the Camp Nou?
A little chance, yeah. There's always a chance.
Ooh.
There's always a chance.
He just says nice things about everyone. Keep everyone happy.
Oh, my God.
You analysed before for us how you thought Newcastle could kind of take advantage of Barcelona's high line. Did you think they managed to do that much enough tonight? And
probably not enough. I think they did in the first sort of 15, 20 minutes. You felt like a goal was coming. You know, they were causing Barcelona real problems. But, I mean, the goal comes from something like that in terms of, you know, pace, getting down the sides, little 1-2, someone not tracking the run at the back post. But I thought Newcastle would cause them more problems, actually. But I do agree with Mike.
No, but you thought also, let's all be honest, you thought that at the beginning, you thought that Gordon was going to start. And then it would have been a different ball game if Gordon started.
I still feel like Newcastle can cause them problems in the new camp, and I'd be surprised if they didn't score, you know, in that game. But you just think Barcelona home, you could see them scoring 3 or 4 in that game. I think Thierry mentioned before the game, he watches probably more European football than any of us, that they are the best attacking team. You know, in this competition, there's obviously some great attacking teams there, but you think of obviously, you know, they've got in Yamal as well. So, I still think Barcelona will get through, but I would expect Newcastle to score in the away leg.
So the same as me, basically.
Yeah. Do you agree with that take too?
Bayern is battling with that team. I think that Bayern is way more balanced.
Yeah.
Than Barcelona in terms of how they attack, how they shift places. And you will see whoever is, you know, it can be the winger inside, the striker like we saw with Nicolas Jackson on the right. They know what they need to do. They press well. They're very difficult to beat at times. It looks like at Barcelona, you know, sometimes you have the tie against Atletico. I don't know if you guys watched the game in the Cup where you lose 4-0 and it could have been 6-0 to 7-0 to Atletico. And then you bring the game back to Barca and then it could have been also 6-7 to 8-0 for you. So you need to find that consistency and that balance if you want to win and be considered as one of the hot favorite to win it. I still think they are. But that balance sometimes that they don't have make me turn a tiny bit more to Bayern and Arsenal.
I think Bayern or Arsenal would beat Barcelona.
All right, Micah.